Long Island Sound, will explain his experience with oysters.
Hi, I'm Nat Sandberg. If you're from here in Norwalk, you may have stared out into the sound at the various boats fishing and dredging and wondered, what is exactly happening on the water? The commercial fishing industry is a big part of Norwalk's history and economy. I'd like for you to meet today's guest, Michael Arviz. Welcome to our studios.
Hello.
So how did you get into oystering?
Well, I grew up in the backdrop of many oysters when I was a boat mechanic working for my father in middle school and high school, and I always wanted to be a part of it, be on the boats, and I had family members that had done it, and I just followed along those lines of interest.
Have you always been an oysterman?
No, like I said, I started out as a marine mechanic years ago as actually a small child, and then just after high school took an interest in working on the water and all forms of commercial fishing really, but oystering is what we do here locally.
How have weather conditions affected the industry of oystering? We have a clip we're going to show you and try to give you some insight into what goes on.
Well, the ice this year obviously has been a real problem. We pretty much have to break ice almost every single day to get out, and we have got to keep our crew's toes and fingers from freezing, including my own. And the oysters themselves will freeze up pretty quick if you don't keep them out of the wind if it's below 30 degrees all day.
I suppose there are a lot of rules, laws, regulations that you're bound by. How do they affect your industry?
Well, we've got a lot of FDA requirements on the time they've got to get under refrigeration and be kept out of the sun during the summer months. And we also have a pretty heavily mandated through national standards of the water quality in the approved areas where we're allowed to harvest oysters from.
What is the process of oystering? Take us through it with this clip.
Well, we tow a dredge that we drag it along the bottom, and we hoist it in. We dump it on a stainless steel bench, which is actually required to be stainless by the FDA. They're sorted, and any barnacles or anything like that that's on them are scraped off. They're bagged up and tagged and loaded on trucks and then brought to a refrigerated distribution truck.
And where do you take the oysters once they're caught and bagged? Where do they go to?
That's, as you saw in the clip, they go right straight to a distributor who distributes them throughout the Northeast, Boston, New York, Philadelphia, Albany.
You're not the only one that generally goes out on an oystering ride and run. You have some crewmates. You want to tell us about them?
Well, I have Douglas DeBell. He actually owns the beds that I work, and we work together quite a bit. And sometimes we bring a crew member or two. There's Douglas, and that's about it. Sometimes I actually go by myself.
I'll be the captain of the boat.
It sounds like it would be going out alone could be a potentially risky situation.
You just have to be more alert and more careful, much more aware.
That's because not only do you have to try to collect the oysters, you also got to steer the boat and watch out for all the perils and of the sea that would be involved.
Yes, that's true.
What is your role as an oysterman?
As an oysterman, I pretty much do a little bit of everything. If I run my boat, I'll be the captain of the boat. If I'm on somebody else's boat, I'll pretty much be a deckhand.
How do you like your job?
I love this job. I had a real job and I quit for this job.
What is your most memorable experience working?
Memorable experience probably would be the day my cousin and I were out working and lightning struck behind the boat. Must have been about 5 feet behind the boat. My cousin jumped straight up off the ground, must have been 4 feet off the ground, turned white as a ghost. That was the end of that day. We came in as fast as we could. Probably pretty much the most.
Is it okay to eat oysters fresh and raw right off the boat?
Oh, sure. They've come from they have different water classifications, and they've come out of what they call approved water, and it's policed quite heavily, and we're inspected twice a year to see that we comply. They go through all our records, and they even have boats. The DEP goes out and monitors from time to time. They'll surprise us with an inspection.
Is there like a certain heightened state of alert, or do you guys get any more nervous when you see one of the DEP boat out there?
No, as long as
prior
you're obeying
inspection?
all the rules, you won't have any problems, because there's pretty strong safety factor built in. You could even harvest from a non-approved area, you'd probably be all right. So the ones that are approved are way above the standards.
Where can most oysters be found?
In brackish water, if it's too salty, as in the ocean, they'll die, and if it's too fresh, like a lake, they'll die. And has to be a hard bottom, gravelly, sandy bottom is best. The mud or silt bottom, they'll tend to grow disfigured and disformed, and also make it just smother and die.
Interesting. Today we got to meet a fisherman and captain who dedicates his time to provide Norwalk with its famous oysters, as well as providing for the culture of Norwalk. I'd like to thank Michael Oravez for coming in and sharing his stories and his adventures with us today. Thank you so much for coming in. I'm Nat Sandberg. Thank you so much. Smooth sailing, and have a great day.